rain from the sea erased the colors of the day from the soft shadows that gave me shelter.
I don't like it.
Even the water, peaceful yesterday, seems troubled by the same unfriendly chill that pushes me from my reverie.
Woo! Alright, I'm gonna turn that off in the background because it only gets creepier, it only gets worse, right? What's up, Brandon? Mr. Hall of Fame here. I'm going out of order. I don't know if you watched any of my videos in the past, but I kind of get willy-nilly with it, right? I have a good time, and I also tend to go long. You asked a bunch of questions with subparts and name 5 and so on and so forth, so gonna do my best not to make this a forever and a day video, but it's likely to go long. Apologies already, right? Alright, so while we're at it, how you doing? Pleasure to have you here on my end. And in honor of you, I know you're a Glock guy. I'm a Smith & Wesson man. So, yeah, here's a shirt to represent that. Alright, so, hey, layers. What is in the background, and now the distant background, the Mystic Moods Orchestra. This Highway 1 is kind of like classical music overlapped with ruffling leaves and babbling brooks and streaming streams and waterfalls and raindrops and all that. But creepy spoken word that gets increasingly more creepy by the track to like, I peered over your body today while you were basking in the sun. You know, I try to take in the rays of your beauty. It just gets creepy. Alright, it's a funny gag goof to listen to with friends. And it's one of those things, I'm glad this is my pop culture repertoire, so to speak. But it's peculiar, to say the least, right? Alright. So, other creepy music that you didn't realize was creepy when you were younger, okay? One of those would be, one I don't have to represent, okay? The story of Bud Dwyer, if you don't know, I believe he was the financial treasurer of Pennsylvania, got caught up in some scandal. They don't know if he was blackmailed or not. There's some combative stories, countering opinions. There's a couple documentaries, and if you watch those documentaries, you're going to see some things you wish you couldn't unsee. But Filter, Hey Man, Nice Shot, is about Bud Dwyer, a man that killed himself on TV. So that's creepy when you know the lyrics behind it. In the same regards, dropping CDs! In the same regards, and by the way, just like Brandon, I don't edit, I don't chop anything up. At the most, I might press pause to flip a record or change camera angles or something along that lines, but hey, you're getting unfiltered Eric here. Polly, if you know the true story of Polly and the inspiration behind that music, yeah, that's a rough one. It's creepier more as an adult than when I was listening to it as a child, right? Hey, that worked out perfectly. I dropped one half the double disc of this, What a Long Strange Trip It's Been, Grateful Dead. The last place segue, one into another. Creepy music. Places you've been and places you want to go, right? So I guess in honor of places I've been is this Wisconsin Cup. Nothing sexy here. It's a sugar-free, calorie-free diet Arnold Palmer. Extravagant. Alright. And then also in a place I visited recently, Nashville, my friend who's since moved away to Cincinnati, Tennessee Jed by the Grateful Dead, right? So that represents that. And then, man, I'd like to go back because now, you know, since I've been in the vinyl community, I've met people, you know, via the internet who are from Nashville and Tennessee area. I'd definitely like to go back someday, but with my hours as a chef and vacation time being limited and obligatory needs of having to see family in various locations, I don't know when that will ever happen again, but I definitely recommend to anybody to enjoy Nashville and Tennessee as a whole. All right, dream destination has always been to Japan. So this live in Japan, Judas Priest right here. I freaking love Judas Priest, by the way. Brandon, I don't know if you watch my videos. I ramble about Judas Priest too much. You just got to get rid of that. No talking about the music. Let's just move on. Freaking love Judas Priest. Japan, dream destination. And then also I grabbed this to represent a region of the world. Split Ends. This Why I Oughta. There's the True Colors, I believe, is the more cliche record that has like 8 different colorways and people collected all the different records. But this is a demo, not for sale, gold stamp, pretty good condition. But they're from New Zealand. Their heyday was late 70s through the 80s. New Zealand, Australia has also been a big destination for me. I've always wanted to go to, right? So, creepy music, check. Ooh, speaking of creepy music, did I even mention this? Something just popped in my head. When I was in high school, I was dating a girl who, she just was always too eerie and weird and awkward for me to really fall for her, right? But, you know, I liked her, but she was one of those people like, you remember the Warner Brothers frog? That be like, hello my baby, hello my darling, hello my ragtime doll. But then every single time the construction worker would pull out his lunchbox, and he'd be like, and like he'd just like pick it up and be all slinky, and he wouldn't dance or do anything for any of the friends. That's how this chick was. She was outgoing and fun and social, but anytime she got around my family or friends, she would just fall to pieces and become nothing. She had no personality or whatever, and she just became utterly submissive, and then went to aggressive and crazy and became a real life stalker. Like police involved, creepy stalker, self threats to herself, and then also she at one point threatened via letter after I moved and she didn't know my address. The mail beat me to my new address. Threatened to kill anyone who ever has sex with me and anyone they ever met. And then it's a lot of people. So yeah, that's creepy. So yeah, what's the song? What's the music? I'm rambling. I do that. Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow. I saw your picture today. When I hear that song to this day, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. It gives me the willies. I don't like it because the context. She'd call, leave a message, or call from a different phone, and I'd pick up, and that song would be in the background every time for months to years on end, right? Let's get past that, right? Yuck. So, places you've been, creepy music, 3 major events, right? So, I discovered music through pop culture with my father, God rest his soul, right? So stuff like, I have this framed, my records on the wall. If you've ever seen these videos in the past, you've seen different angles in this room, and you've seen frame records and nonsense. But Thunderball, that was one of the first things I remember watching with my dad and being taken by a score, not by just like the powerful song by Tom Jones, Thunderball, not just that, but the underwater scuba battle with that that was crazy. I just remember that captivated me. And also another soundtrack that captivated me as a child. I'm not even joking. I was going to nerd out. It's over there. I'm not going to reach for it. I have this on cassette. I have this on VHS. I have this on DVD. I have this on Blu-ray. And I finally got it on vinyl. Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. I remember just being obsessed with this movie as a kid. And just that and Foxy Brown. Pam Grier was the first woman I ever saw naked. I love blaxploitation movies, all sorts of movies, but I grew up with those. I spent a little bit of time in the PJs as a kid. But so, yeah, Last Dragon introduced me to music, obsessed with that. Then I went on a deep dive of just being a movie nerd as a kid, and then knowing the soundtracks and discovering bands through music, right? And I guess, since we're in the vinyl community and we talk about vinyl, one thing that changed me in the vinyl aspect is that I'm a sucker for the Mary Jane girls. All right, I'm a Rick James guy. You know, there's kind of Prince people and there's Rick James people. No disrespect to Prince, definitely enjoy Prince. I'm a Rick James guy. All right, and when I got this, as silly as it is, this Obi press right here, this is so freaking crisp and clean. And, you know, it's not Beethoven or Tchaikovsky or even, like, Coltrane or Miles Davis, like, you know, jazz with, like, soft moments in it, you know, where it's more delicate and you need quietness. But when I got this some years ago, right, this is an online purchase, right, because you always find the Pink album over and over again. This one's a little bit harder to find. I got this on eBay for, I don't even remember, it was not that expensive. But this plays so freaking flawless that when I got this record, it changed the way I wanted to listen to music. I wasn't just content for like, oh, it's a dollar bin find or whatever. Now I'm more selective. I don't want to double buy records and like constantly be upgrading or whatever. I'm more likely to inspect my vinyl if I'm not familiar with the record store, or sometimes if you are familiar with the record store, you know you need to inspect stuff. But this Mary Jane Girls, as far as a record collector, changed the way I wanted to listen to music, right? And then one other thing. Let me go for one more thing. So, I don't know if you could tell by this gullet right here. By the way, just a perfect shadow to make me look even fatter than I already am. But, because it's in the middle of the night. I got a couple lamps on here. I just got out of the shower, if you can't tell by the wet hair. And I was like, man, let me go and support a friend in the vinyl community. A new friend, one hopes. Shaking hands with you, sir. But, some years ago, better than 6-7 years ago or whatever, I'm a chef. I slowly gained like a proper, legitimate, like, saucier, butcher and everything, making soups and sauces from scratch. And I'm that chef, right? I'm not the drop chicken fingers, and no disrespect to anyone out there earning a living, but I'm not drop chicken fingers in a basket chef. All right. But so some years ago, even prior to this, I used to really get after it on the weights. I used to power lift and really get after it. And then so I slowly gained weight, and then I lost some 75 pounds, and ever since then, I've maintained 40 plus off, which I guess kudos to me, whatever. But I've been constantly, perpetually gaining and losing the same 25, 30 pounds for years, and I really need to get after it. And this is a recent purchase because I was thinking back, I saw this, and when I used to really get after it, I like to pull and row. I was never really a big presser. I enjoyed it. Like over the head shoulder presses, stuff like that was gratifying. Incline and decline bench. I was never really much of a straight just chest press guy. Nerding out on weightlifting now. That's losing people by the second. Yeah, weightlifting nerd amongst all other, gun nerd, comic book nerd, car nerd. I guess I just go nerdy for anything I enjoy, right? But so this creator, when I used to like to deadlift, 714.5 pounds would probably be my most impressive lift, in my opinion, amongst other things I've done. And this is split into 4 sides. Which side is it on? Doesn't even matter. Side 2, track 8, Bone Breaker, is the track I was listening to. This German thrash metal is what I was listening to when I, as I said in the previous video, nutted up and got that weight off the ground, right? So that was a major event, and I guess when that was shown in the vinyl community recently, I believe by Mark G with a C, I was reminiscing, and I was like, man, I need to get back on my shit. You don't want to die young with a collection of fun things and money in the bank and 3 cars, and you work hard all your life not to enjoy the remainder of your life. So your boy's got to do a little bit more minding what he eats and drinks, such as this sugar-free, calorie-free, somewhat flavor-free Arnold Palmer. All right, but that was a major event in my life. All right, I was proud of that as a former weightlifter. All right, and a quasi, somewhat nonchalant weightlifter nowadays. All right, so what are we at here? Creep music, check. Places you've been, check. 3 major events. Strangers. I wrote that in. I snuck in that. That was the thing I forgot, right? I guess that's why it took so long. I'm working so many hours I don't see anyone, right? So 2 things. I used to coach Special Olympics, right? And so there's no segue into this to like make funny jokes or whatever, or put anyone down or degrade anything, right? But I've always had an affinity and a place in my heart to help people of special needs, right? And so there's this restaurant I go to after work. One of the reasons why I'm overweight. I visit my buddy John at the Clock here in Greenville, South Carolina, and say hi to him. There's a special needs individual that's there on a lot of nights with his. He's raised by his grandparents, right? And he's I don't know, mid-late 20s, but forever 12, 13 years old, if you know what I mean. And so he likes my cars. I have an old, kind of like a muscle truck, a F100. I got a supercharged Mercury Marauder that's pretty gnarly, and I got a screaming yellow Mach 1. If you can't tell by my icon, that's my Mach 1. All right. So, anyways, the guy always sees me. He's like, "What's up? What's up?" He's so excited. He's like, "I like your car. I like your car." You know, it's like, hey, he calls me Big Man. Not everyone calls me Big Man if they don't know me. And I was like, hey, bud, can I ask you a question? And he's like, kind of straightens up. You know, he's not used to, you know, I think he has really overprotective grandparents that don't let him talk to people. Like, they're real people. You know, people with special needs, they're supposed to be able to engage and react. And how they're raised is going to determine how they interact with the rest of the world. But anyway, so he was a little taken back. Not that I freaked him out or scared him out, but almost like, do I have permission to speak? And I guess I met his grandparents enough times. So like, whatever. I was like, bud, can I ask you a question? What's your favorite music? And so he told me, he said, I like Batman. Okay. He said, I like Batman. I like Frozen. And then he sang the Frozen theme song. And then he said, I said, you have music. Do you like guitars? And he says, I like Garth Brooks. So he likes Batman, the animated series and everything, and it has a score. So don't fault him for that. He likes Batman. He likes Frozen. That was a massive soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have children, and I never watched it, but I assume, you know, besides that, was it Get Away? I don't even remember. But, yeah, and then I asked someone at a record store I've never met. I was like, hey, man, what type of music do you like? And they looked at me like, do I know you? And I was like, no, I was just curious, man, what are you flipping for? And then he had like this whole, like, are you trying to beat me to it? Are you trying to get it before I can get it? And then so he just like, he just looked at me, and the dude's totally flipping like in the indie section. And then the guy's like, Tom Petty, Janis Joplin, and Bob Seger. You're like, bro, you freaking liar. There's no conspiracy here. All right, so some indie boy didn't like, and I'm not trying to say that this guy. I'm saying derogatory about this guy, not people like indie rock or indie music or whatever. But yeah, whatever he said of Bob Seger and Janis Joplin and Tom Petty is totally in no way whatsoever what he was looking for. This guy's looking for Vampire Weekend and whatever stuff to, like, you know, cry in a bathtub too about. But whatever. Where are we at right now? 17 minutes. Here we go, man. And I guess the last thing, dude, he has surprises. He has ZZ's Top, 5-album sealed number 2 numero dos. That's pretty cool, man. That's a very generous gift, right? He has a Mo-Fi record. That's really dope, right? But I'm a nerd, you know. I like coasters, right? And I figured, dude, I'm totally cool with coasters, and let somebody else get the big boy prize of that ZZ Top if they want it or if they have a choice or whatever. I'll take coasters, and I figured I'd use coasters as an excuse to show Brandon here. Everyone else who watches this channel is probably going to know a lot of the music I like, but since I'm making a new friend in the vinyl community, one hopes, I figured I'd take that second to show you some of the music I like. As I mentioned with that Judas Priest live in Japan, I freaking love Judas Priest. So if you want to hand me some coasters, bruh, one of the best albums ever of all time. Alright? One of my favorite back to form Judas Priest, Judas Rising is an awesome song. Demonizer is a killer song. But this album cover is gnarly as hell. So wouldn't be mad if that showed up on an album cover, on a coaster, right? Boom. Judas Priest. Once I don't know why I say that. It was the topic on hand. Screaming for Vengeance, right? You know, maybe this comp, I know this is just a comp, but I think that's so iconic. That's freaking rad, you know? So I'm not opposed to that. And then, I mean, everyone gets down with the Painkiller, you know? So if that shows up on a coaster or whatever, I know I'm showing you more than 4, because I like surprises, right? Boom. So saw the anniversary tour of this, which was also, was that Angel Retribution? It doesn't even matter. All right, no need to get sidetracked, right? So, like I say, I like surprises. If somehow I win this shindig, and I end up with 4 coasters, bro, surprise me. Big fan of cheesecake. If you find some old soul, funk, R&B, jazz cheesecake with beautiful, curvaceous, ebony females, that won't hurt my feelings. All right? I'm also a matchy match guy. So if you break me off with some white, black, and red, a forfer, a quartet of white stripes, bro, I'm totally all about that, right? Bow down. So, yeah, just trying to be honest, right? A generous gift from Randall Weaver. I freaking love the Mars Volta, right? I only got 2 to show. But if you end up breaking me off with 4 Mars Volta coasters, I'm totally cool with that. Hey, I like freaking Iron Maiden, man. There's some iconic covers. Surprised me with 4. Love Metallica. Now, if you do Metallica, hey, man. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be with that guy. I need pre-Black album. That's And Justice for All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, Kill 'Em All. That's only 4 coasters I want, you know? Now, don't get me wrong. If I had an 8-pack of Metallica coasters, I wouldn't be mad. Like, oh, no. I'd probably give the person I like least in the room the Refuel or the St. Anger coaster. You know what I mean? But, and also, hey, man, on some nerd stuff, hey, man, maybe a quartet of soundtracks. Wow. Death Proof? Jackie Brown? Do you see a theme here? These are movies by who? Bow! VHS, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Quentin Tarantino, right? That's what we're talking about. So, and I guess the last thing he wanted was, 2 last things, if that makes sense, 2 last things. What stresses you out or what angers you, right? Money isn't a thing, right? I'm the type of person, if I'm spending money on one thing, I'll cut out something else, right? So if I'm going eating out, spending too much money on that, you know, or not that I'm, you know, kind of past the whole bar phase, but, you know, if you're doing that, then I'm just like, okay, bow. I'm not doing that because I'm buying records, right? And if I were to go to the movies every weekend for 4 weeks in a row because, you know, there's just big summer blockbusters, I'd be buying less records during that time frame, right? So, you know, I don't really, you know, the finances of records don't stress me out. It just is what it is. I do hate when you buy records and they weren't worth the money or they're damaged and you have to deal with, like, returning stuff. That irks me, more so the financial aspect. To have to replace something or deal with a record company or send something that came in through eBay in poor condition, that irks me, more so than the financial aspect of it, right? I also hate when record stores use stickers that aren't peel away. Either if you're gonna use a not peel away sticker and you're just gonna ruin the outer sleeve, it's whatever. I don't like stickers on my stuff, right? Hype stickers are one thing that tied to the music, right? I don't need my record to say $17.99 on it. I don't need mine to say Yellow Dog Records on it or whatever record store around the way. It doesn't matter, right? I don't need that in my life. So I'm slouching. I'm feeling good, right? It's about bedtime. But, so that really irks me. But the last thing here, right? And it's going to segue into the last thing you wanted was a room tour, right? So, I'm tiny house living. I'm downtown. My rent's lovely, but I got a tiny home. It's minuscule, and my record collection's ever growing. I'm trying to reorganize my office, getting a little cluttered. I actually plan on, when I get everything tight, since I'm moving in a few months, hopefully buying my first house here in the near future, that I would kind of time capsule it by making a video, so to speak, if that makes sense. But, so since that's coming in the future, I won't get too detailed with it, but I'll show you my little setup, and like if you watch videos in the past, you've probably seen me needle drop and seen my equipment. But I'm just going to pause real quick, and I guess one of the things that stresses me out is where to put things, you know, staying on top of putting them away and being organized, because I'm kind of a neat, clean, organized person, and having too many records for a tiny house and no place to put it, sometimes when you're a neat person, gets a little frustrating, gets a little stressful. But anyways, I'll pause and be back in a minute. Here we are, back at it. All right, so I can't flip camera and pause and edit. I don't do any of that if you actually made it this far, right? So here's my main living room, right? So here we are, to the big screen TV, all that, front door, office, and this is where you get in the clutter, right? So if you're hanging out in my room, this is my go-to spot where I'm hanging out all the time. And so that's that. But then you get in here, like I say, this is where it becomes an issue, right? So I just got stuff here in my living room. Pantera, Black Sabbath, Miko, Star Wars, Rollins Band, Pantera, The Seeds, Sonics, Muscle Shoals Comp, soundtracks, Maiden, all sorts of random, right? George Benson. Like I say, you get over here, and then, oh, by the way, there we go on the wall. All that mess. So there is the previously spoken upon Thunderball, right? So here's a bin of records. That is, I don't know, I'm just holding this camera weird. Stuff I've listened to recently and need to listen to. So Queensryche, The Shadows of Night, Toe Fat, MC5, Kick Out the Jams, motherfucker! Saxon, Crocus, Black Pussy, The Dead Boys, More American Graffiti soundtrack, Y&T, Black Sabbath. I love this freaking Medusa album. Kind of, anyways, however well this is showing. And I got this on mute, of course, because this is my Audio-Technica ATP L120. All right. Let me go and kill that for the night. Hey there, how are we doing? But here's an old ammo box. Basic stylus, not stylus brush, but static brush, cleaner, a wipe, just to maintain clean in here. And like I say, stuff I've listened to immediately. Here's Gun, Warrior soundtrack. Hopefully this is showing well. I don't know. I'm just holding the camera blind, hoping for the best. Here's a weird comp, 3-piece comp. I haven't even cranked this yet. This is Sealed Groove Holmes. This is Mars Volta, out of that sleeve, been listening to that recently. Some Crusaders. King Gizzard, seeing that September 1st in Asheville, if I'm not mistaken. Grifters. There's a reggae comp. Led Zeppelin, super clean. Dope copy on that, right? New York Dolls, Moya Moya, Black Mountain, some more Mary Jane Girls. William Devon, Rockin' Tours, Blood Rock, the Blackbirds. So War, all sorts of stuff, right? And I guess this last little thing that, however well this is going to show up, right? So here is some old vintage radios. If you see here, right? I got a slew of them. One's down there. One's in my kitchen you've seen in the background in the past, right? There's an old Bakelite radio. This is Sony surround sound. Hooked up right now, just get me by until I have a house and I set up a proper music room, right? I have this old Yamaha that's not even hooked up with the speakers over there. Like I say, this probably looks horrendous. But my favorite thing I've done here is that, here's a weird little thing. From when I went to Nashville, you could tell that, if this is showing up, when I went to Nashville, I just kept this in my back pocket. Asked not to rely on having to look up Google all the time. So, yeah, your boy hit up as many record stores as he could. Here's just miscellaneous comps and comedy. Rodney Dangerfield, Jerry Clower, old Dick Gregory, Aziz, Bill Burr, Richard Pryor, stuff along that lines. But this is the dummy side. I don't know, like I say, I don't know how well it's showing. I'm doing this blind here. But this side is where the old stereo was. This actually lifts up, and then at one point I'm probably going to put a 60 instead of a 120 in here. I have a hidden stereo where the turntable would go. But this dummy door, I gutted the old busted crappy cone speaker, and my subwoofer is hidden inside this old unit from God knows when. But anyways, that's a lot of questions. A lot of music. Like I say, part of the stress. Another stack. Candyman, Psychedelic Lollipop, Boston, Allman Brothers, Foxy Brown, First Press Promo, and then just another stack right here. Band I've recently fallen in love with, Black Mountain. I tell you what, you hit me with 4 Black Mountain coasters, that won't hurt my feelings. But hey, Brandon, hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to do this in under 30 minutes. Hey, there's a picture of my mom. What a beautiful woman. And then what else is in my room right here? Look at my dad on his wedding day in a van that this is a total glare here, a van he customized in a brown tuxedo with a baby box afro, looking sharp. Anyways, everyone, if you made it 30 minutes, take care, God bless, I love y'all.